MBC.
Welcome to the show. I'm your co-host, Jamar Nelson.
I'm A.K. Kamar, Black Republican, Black Democrat. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome, bro.
Welcome, man.
Good to have you, bro. Good to see you.
You too.
Man. See, when you don't butcher the music, how it happens, the theme is really,
It's the funky bass, man.
The bass line.
You can't get rid of it. So how you been since last week, man?
So soon, bro. I had a good friend of mine who lost her only child over the weekend, and she wasn't in town. Her and her husband, they weren't their only child, and they weren't in town. And he was one of the victims of the string of murders that happened in North Minneapolis over the weekend within, a couple of hours span.
Sure. Yeah.
I think there have been 4 homicides, and they have. Well, it breaks my heart, AK, man. I'm, kind of tired of starting shows like this. We're obligated to make sure that we stay informative. But when folks that this affects, it hurts. And she's a great lady, man. And so to lose her only child, is crazy. I think we're at now. I'm almost losing count, but I think we're at in Minneapolis. I think we're at about 58 murders.
Right.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's way more than last year, and definitely on pace to catch Murderapolis title, which is a title I don't think anybody wants to hit. And, I think the BCA came out and they're offering, I think it's $180,000 reward. $168,000 for information leading to hopefully the arrest and capture of those that had killed 3 children.
Two.
Two. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
2. No, it for real, AK, man. It is just crazy, bro. To phantom children at 5 and 6, maybe 7 tops. Well, LaDavion, I think it's 10. To be shot. The traumatization these kids, well, LaDavion will go through, hearing loud noises, 4th of July firecrackers will trigger him. Hopefully he'll have a productive life.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That's just, it boggles the mind, man, to think that this is what we live in. And so I'm also want to make the point of, when you brought up Murderapolis, it just the light bulb went off my head that this is why the crimes bill. One of the reasons why the crimes bill was enacted. Now I know we'll have if Maz is watching, he's screaming at the TV or his handset or whatever, saying no. It is one of the reasons why the crime bill was enacted. You can say what you want to say about Joe Biden. That's fine. I'm saying as I told him then, and everyone that, especially the Bernie Sanders supporters, they tend to bring up, Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton, they signed well, Hillary did not. Joe Biden did, and then so did your candidate. Okay. So, but this is one of the reasons why myself and a lot of black people supported the crimes bill. As I told Maj, as I tell everyone, it's not the fault of Joe Biden, and Maj is probably screaming again, how states interpret that law, or not, that's not interpret, how they implemented the law. That's not the fault of Joe Biden. People can paint him as a racist. Oh, okay, but when you have a substantial amount of murders per week, per day, what do you do? We're Minneapolis. we're down to 700 police officers and 1,000 in what's normally 1,000-man force, 1,000-person force.
And defund the police is, for whatever reason, coming back again in Minneapolis.
Which
the entire
is,
conversation.
And I hope we'll lose every candidate that wants to defund the police because it's dangerous. I want you, when you say defund the police, I want you to pick up the paper or your handset or knock on the door of your neighbor and ask them, do they want to defund? Look at the crime that's been committed. Look at the murder that's happened in your neighborhood already. And ask yourself, do I want to defund the police? Or do I want to demand transparency and accountability from a police department? Right. Or do I demand a police department that looks and reflects me?
Sure.
We can talk about it, and that's never going to happen, about officers living but we can talk about that. But do I want that? Do I demand that from a police department? Sure. Yeah. Do I want a police department that's fair and just, or that treats me humane? Absolutely. And we deserve that. And that's what we should be fighting for. If you're mad at their $200 million budget, then let's find other ways to allocate funds into worthwhile programs that work, that produce results to show their work. Because we're already pouring money good after bad into programs that aren't working.
Yeah. So, the thing that's interesting, Jamar, whenever you talk about, your frustration with people behind the defund the police movement, there's always this back and forth where, I think it was the White House had said, the Republicans, because they voted against this bill, they actually are the only ones that have ever voted to defund and things like that. And you get into these weird semantic arguments, but what happens is you come back and you look at that there's a divide in the Democrat Party. You have progressive people such as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, such as Congresswoman Cori Bush, that are still out there talking about defund the police, using those exact words. And so it's interesting because you have this weird split between the Democrats that are, I'll say a Democrat like yourself, and then the new progressive Democrats. And it's interesting as a Republican because I'm sitting back and I'm watching like, what are y'all, like y'all fighting about this and you can't get on the same page. But I think that, what you'll find is that there are a lot of common sense people, and when you feed them a bunch of information that just doesn't actually speak to the experiences that they have, they're never going to believe it. And so, Cori Bush can go out there and say defund the police and all this different stuff, but when you actually look and you live in these cities that are experiencing these crime waves and these spikes, you're not going to agree with that premise. You're going to say, well, we got to do something. And I get it. So like when you talk about Murderapolis and you talk about the crime bill, I myself, I've always been someone that believes that having, tough law and order is important to society, as a conservative especially. And again, it's you get the spin where, yeah, you're going to go after Joe Biden and say that he is racist because of the crime bill, but yet, like, let's be honest, the majority of Republicans voted and supported the crime bill as well because, again, want the law and order. So, I'm not saying that that's always going to be the solution. There's been a study that's been released talking about what the effects of crime have been when you have a larger police force. But I think that, there's been these questions raised about the efficacy of the law enforcement. So it's not necessarily just about the numbers, but it's about how well do they do these things and the integration of basically segmenting and saying, well, this is an issue that's for law enforcement. This is an issue that's for, EMS. This is an issue that's for mental health. And I think that the vast majority of people, whether Republican or Democrat, agree that if there's an issue that's going on and whenever there's going to be discrimination or if there's any impropriety, people are for reform. Like that's just the truth. So, as we go week by week, these things continue to happen in Minneapolis and the families and everybody that's involved. It's horrific. And, you have upcoming elections, right? Elections have consequences. And, I think the most mayoral candidates in the history of Minneapolis mayor race are currently in the race right now.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what ends up happening.
You got a lot of characters, and you're right. Let's try reform. Reform has never been tried here, so let's support Chief Arredondo in trying reform. But and I like the fact that he's open-minded about asking what does reform look like to you guys? Not this utopia of no police or making firing all the police officers and making them
rehired,
making them
reapply
for their jobs, which is ludicrous because you're going to bring them up the city because you're going to pay these pensions and these. Okay, try that, why don't you? See how the city lasts. So, we just got to stop dreaming of a utopia where, as I be saying to Republicans, where you live in that where sorcerers and unicorns still live. And the reality is there's robbers, shooters, and carjackers outside of your house and not unicorns and sorcerers. So you're right. Elections do have consequences. And I hope those that are running for defund. Again, as an unapologetic black man, I understand the premise of it. I seriously do, but that's not reality, and I hope you lose.
Right.
Speaking of elections, having questions.
Well, let's
no, you're right.
Yeah. So as you're settling down, you're watching the show, and you feeling thirsty.
Yeah. Well,
you need to go grab yourself some orange drink, some purple drink, some grape drink, some eggs, diapers. Head on over to the Weber Mart. Weber Mart is a great sponsor of ours. Make sure to head down, patronize them. Let them know how much that we support their sponsorship. And then after that,
you want to make sure that if you're not watching us right now, you can make sure you watch us later. But then you should probably go to the Egg Roll Queen.
Yep.
If you're not, so I won't be so pissed. But if you're not watching the show, you're probably in there patronizing the Egg Roll Queen, and they have great specialty egg rolls. We say that all the time because we mean it, because they really do. This place specializes in egg rolls of all sorts. So again, you got a fix for something, a dessert egg roll or a food egg roll. They about make it, yes, at the Egg Roll Queen.
And then make sure that you guys do head on over to patreon.com/BRBD. You'll be able to make a donation to support the show. We're really kind of fleshing out being able to create content that is going to be specific for people that donate and support our show. If you like what you see, definitely head to patreon.com/BRBD and make a contribution, whether it's $1 or $1,000. We appreciate every donation. After that, we would appreciate that right now as you're watching that you can comment. We're going to go through and we're going to answer some of the questions that you might have as we get kind of further in the show and we start talking about a couple of different things we're going to talk about. We do have a YouTube page that's up as well. So for those of you that are watching on the YouTube, again, ask questions and put your input in. We'll gladly answer those. And then after that, let's say you can't watch the show right now. You've bookmarked it.
Mm-hmm.
But tomorrow when you're driving to work, you feel like you want to listen to a podcast.
Where do you go?
You're going to go to anchor.fm/BRBD. You'll be able to find us on your favorite podcasting platforms, such as Spotify, and you'll be able to listen to us there.
Where?
Anchor.fm/BRBD.
Word. Well, you know what? We were talking about elections having consequences, and an important election that has a consequence that hasn't been decided yet was the special
election.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't need you to help me. Damn. Yes, the special election in Brooklyn Park of the candidate that we've had on our show, a friend of the show, Hollis Winston. I'm sorry, Jacobson. I know her last name. What's her first name?
I'm not sure what the other candidate. I live in Hugo. I don't live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
All I know is that, like you said, elections have consequences, and it's pretty wild. I mean, people always talk like they'll say every vote counts, every vote matters. Get out there and vote.
Every vote counts.
And everybody's roles are either like, who cares about my one vote? But it's wild. I mean, coming down to one vote. Obviously it's triggering a recount. But yeah, it's wild. Just to think about it, right? Like, I bet that there's someone on the Hollis side that's like, you know what? I know one dude, and he didn't get out and vote. Like how mad, I think about this. Like, what if Hollis has someone that they went to school with, and they texted him in the morning like, make sure to get out and vote, and they're like, yeah, man, I'll get out there, and then something happened, and they're like, vote. Bro, I didn't vote today. I'm so sorry.
Yes. Well, like you keep saying, we're making light of it, but it is a serious situation when we talk about how every freaking vote counts. This is exemplary of every voting count.
Yeah.
Right now, Lisa Jacobson I believe her name is, and Hollis Winston are technically Lisa beat Hollis by literally one vote,
Right.
314. I'm sorry, 3,415 to 3,414 that Hollis has. One vote, bro.
Yeah, that's great.
Not 1,000, not 100, literally one vote. So obviously in elections, guys, that will trigger a recount. So hopefully Hollis just comes out on the end of that. I mean, I won't, I'm a Hollis guy. So
Sure.
I hope I think it's a great dude. And I think that can you imagine? Well, I did reach out to the Hollis camp today, and Hollis said, he was thankful to all the voters and people that came out and supported his campaign, and that tonight was just time that he was going to spend with his family. It was just family night and focusing on his family, and so we respect that and say, Hollis, you ran a great race, and hopefully, first of all, there's no need to hang your head, because again, you fought a great race and you campaigned extremely well. That's what I like about Hollis. Hollis is a really good campaigner, and so if he doesn't win, somebody should make this guy a campaign manager because he can show you the ropes because he's a he knows retail politics skills, right?
Sure,
he has that, and so I'm pretty proud of you, bro, and what you do all the time. And so I thought this time that he had it in the bag. Looks like he almost had it by one. Well, think about it though. No, he needed 2 votes.
Yeah, if
to
we
win.
had 2 votes, yeah,
He needed two votes to win, and technically,
that's a trip, man.
That is crazy. He needed 2 votes to win.
Like I said, as a I went to school for political science, right? That's what I have my bachelor degree in, and I was been involved in campaign politics since 2006, and I've volunteered on some mayoral races and some other races like that. But yeah, it's always a trip when that happens. Because like I said, if let's say that you're part of the campaign team, you're probably sitting there like, what didn't I know I could have got 2 more people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
it is crazy. So again, this is what you should look to when we tell people when you're campaigning, door knocking and canvassing, that every vote counts. This is why every vote counts.
Right.
This is why Hollis wanted you to. Hollis and, well, I guess Lisa feels she won, so she's good. But
she's like, I'm glad I got that one other
yes.
vote.
Hollis is like, where the hell are the 2 people that didn't come out and vote? And like you say, again, it's funny because it's true. There are 2 people that say, damn, I didn't vote.
Right.
And you could have made that difference in this special election that only produced what would you say? It's 6,400 people.
Well,
6,800.
Like 68, 50 or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't even 7,000 people.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah.
Wow, and the city is much bigger. The city in Brooklyn Park is incredibly huge.
Yeah.
So to think that you only got 7,000 people to come out.
Yeah, and to be fair, right? Whenever you have a special election,
You
and
generally
it's
have
an
low
off-election year,
turnout.
especially.
But this is
after-
not an off election of the year.
Well, I'm saying it's not. It doesn't coincide along with the presidential.
Oh, you mean
race.
okay? Well,
Yeah, and so voter turnout.
That's what you're saying, yeah.
Voters are so fatigued, man, already.
Yeah,
so,
true.
I
But
mean,
see,
but I get it. Yeah.
Here's why I think that then they should have pushed it to September, because having it in August is actually would have been strategically bad because people are still vacationing. You're in a vacation frame of mind.
Yeah.
You're in a school. You're getting your kids together frame of mind. You're not thinking about politics right now. It probably will piss you off to see it on your phone and on your TV, right?
Yeah.
So you're not in that mode. September, people, even when it's not an election year, people kind of get revved up and they kind of expect politics.
Sure.
So now, like in Minneapolis, well, in Brooklyn Park too, that it's a election year, folks will be revved up in September.
Right.
So I think strategically why every party thinks August is a good month for elections. I don't understand. Your party thinks that. My party thinks that. I don't know why they get that ass backwards notion that August is a good election month. Especially if you're having an election that year,
Yeah.
then make it in September or push it back in. And I would honestly fight for it to be in November. Period. Special election period. I know you need, so I guess you can't say that, but if you can, well, because the guy that's Mayor Lundy, resigned because he went to, what job did he take?
I think he won county commissioner.
Hennepin County?
I think so.
Okay,
yeah.
so he got, was he appointed or won?
He won a November election, yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah,
the mayor won? We got to look that up.
Yeah, I honestly,
But I know he has that position, but I do want to know that, you're right, you do have to run for that.
Yeah, no.
Well, unless somebody else resign. But that's true, he did have to run.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Well, dude, see, that's what I'm saying. He's a weasel.
Maybe there's something else. Maybe it was very clear that he was going to, I don't know.
And I want to know that, I mean, obviously he makes more money, Well, not necessarily, though.
I don't know, man.
The county commissioner, I take that lie back. Peter McLaughlin ain't hurting.
Everything that I say from this point is complete, speculation and conjecture.
For sure.
So I have no idea what.
No,
what
I'm with you on that. But
Mayor
Lundy did.
He's still the mayor because.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. That's why I want to talk to the two camps or somebody. So hopefully we can get Hollis on next week for a few minutes, or even we'll reach out to the Jacobson camp to figure out what the hell happens. Lundy, you have to remain mayor.
Yeah.
Well, no, because she won.
Yeah. No.
You got it. But that automatically triggers a recount. Yeah, so she's not. That's confusing.
Mayor-elect.
She's mayor-elect. She's like mayor.
Technically,
yeah. She's like,
they certified the election. I don't know how that process goes.
So make sure you guys go out in November. That Minneapolis, anyway. There's an election happening.
Anyone winning by one vote in that race?
Oh my God! Please no. We don't want anyone. Oh my God! Could you like? Oh no! Could you see a defunding candidate winning by literally one vote?
That'd be a trip.
That put them. Well, again, it would trigger a recount, and so okay. I'm gonna say this because I want to move on because recounts freaking bother me though.
Sure.
Because now I know Hollis wants to come out in his favor, but then I always wonder well, what the fuck did you do wrong that you didn't count the votes the right way the first time?
Yeah. That
now you counted them the right way the second time.
Because if you're the Hollis camp, right? Of course you want to win. So if maybe there's some way somehow that some ballot got jammed in and it's they pull it out and they're like, I found one more. But what it does is it does make people question, which this is something that you completely blast President Trump on all the time. But when people feel that there's something that doesn't make sense, that raises the alarm. And so the person that wins is always going to have this veil if they end up winning after something happens, right? And so regardless of the scale of it, people just want to make sure that elections make sense and that they feel that they've been honest, true, and fair.
The difference, though, is what we know Trump did, especially with the guy that the Georgia Attorney General that testified behind closed doors today, was the pressure that the camp called was he got a personal phone call from Trump who wanted him to nefariously come out and say, hey,
according to his interpretation,
bro, he's under oath. He has and no, he resigned the next day.
Yeah, but it was his interpretation because the question is, what did Trump literally say?
And that's what he said. Trump literally said.
No, he said, this is what I perceived it to mean. And so you do get into a very semantic argument where someone says, according to this person, this is how they felt. Okay, well, what did the person say? Well, they said this. Well, I felt that the way that they said it is, again.
But that's not what he said. That's not, no. I watched I seen some of, they put some of the I was going to say manuscript with the
testimony
up. Thank you. And I watched it shortly before we came to the studio tonight. I was watching it on NBC, MSNBC.
You would,
of course. That's the only one that tells the truth.
Oh, Jesus.
And he said that he was put under pressure by the phone call that he received by Trump to say that the election was BS and Georgia was verbatim. Anyway, just that Trump said no, don't certify this. So he resigned. So then, of course, if you look at the point that Trump tried to make about the guy that he was a never Trumper, when this is a guy that you appointed.
Sure.
Guy you appointed. He's not an era Trumper. It's a guy that you appointed. And because he didn't want to do what was nefarious. So I understand a recount, but you don't have the Hollis. Well, we don't know. We'll ask them, hopefully. Is the Hollis camp, did the Hollis camp ask for a recount? Or we know that it automatically triggered one.
I think it automatically triggers.
It automatically triggers one. No doubt about it, about the one point.
Yeah.
One vote. But nevertheless, what I'm saying too is, does the Hollis camps, as the Hollis camp screaming, recount? Or is it, it's different from when you know you got beat. Now, if Hollis knew he got beat and was still pouting like somebody I know that you voted for, then that's different.
I wouldn't say pouting. I think there's a difference between pouting and saying, there's too many fishy things, and I want to get to the bottom of it.
There wasn't too many fishy things, because each of those states that you guys talk about. Oh, excuse me.
Do you get caught up when you start thinking about how Joe Biden, stole that election?
Yeah, how Don tried to help you guys steal it, Don. But you guys, each of these states that you guys are talking about. First of all, it's funny you want to talk about the cheating and it being in heavily minority or black populated areas. Oh, okay, because black folks can't go into ballot boxes and push this long piece of ass paper in a machine, and even if you don't fill in the circle. If you get in there good enough and still go outside of it, that counts. That counts.
Yeah, but I think you're conflating two things that never got said.
No. Let me finish.
If you have if black areas are statistically speaking, they vote like 90 whatever percent.
High, especially over these last cycles of elections.
So knowing that you have large population centers that happen to be more Democrat. Just from a logical standpoint, that's where you would stuff the ballots.
Like if I was going to cheat, you don't need to when you've been.
I would run up the vote in the areas that I'm already going to win.
You don't need to when you see doing things that I do. When you are seriously door knocking, phone banking, getting results to know that people are excited to come out and vote the guy out.
And I'm just saying, but
so you didn't. So
from
it's
a
not
logistical standpoint, that's where you'd run up the vote, though. You wouldn't run up the vote in a place that makes no sense.
But it's not surprising that those areas who were tired. The problem was you guys. Although we'll be on this for a while, but the problem was you guys ignored.
I've never said, and I never will say that there's definitive proof that the election was stolen. I'll never say that. What I have said is that I think it's important to exhaust every
you guys have
resource, and until every legal resource is exhausted, that you can't just poo-poo it, because at the end of the day, the thing I care the most about is confidence in election. Because
what do you tell me about trials?
Well, yeah, exact same thing. You exhaust every legal resource, but at the end of the day, you have to exhaust the legal resources, because at the end of it, people have to have
the Supreme
confidence.
Court. Listen to me. Excuse me. The Supreme Court doesn't want to take it up. The Supreme Court is refusing to take it up
because they don't feel that they have original jurisdiction.
No, because they said every other court has told you that there is no election fraud, or you haven't even brought substantial evidence to produce. So here's the thing. There's always irregularities. I love the word you guys came up with. I love that now.
Voting irregularities?
There's a machine screw up because they're produced by man-made, and human error. Again, sometimes the dot is here. Some folks just fill it in like that, right?
Sure. Yeah.
When you know that you're supposed to fill it all the way in till you can't see no more white. Bam. There are different things. I'm glad we don't do the hanging chads anymore. I'm glad we don't vote by that anymore. I'm glad we don't go in. I'm glad we use the machine. So there's voting irregularities, but I think it insults me and a lot of black and brown folks, because it's the assumption that in these heavily areas, whether the Democrat or not, that black folks cheated.
No, it's not it's not that they think that black folks cheated. But let's move on past this and talk about something that I think we both have some interesting perspective on.
What would that be?
In regards to the people that are perceived to be crooked, and that's what was it, yesterday? Was it yesterday? Yesterday. Yeah. That Governor Andrew Cuomo officially announced his resignation, I think 14 days from yesterday.
13 days now.
Yeah, 13 days now to step down. And this entire saga of first these allegations coming out and the Attorney General investigating and putting together 68-page report?
Pretty in depth.
And releasing it. So the thing that's crazy to me, and I want your perspective, man. So, your party is the party that is, in my opinion, much quicker to rush to judgment when it comes to issues involving,
Sexual
alleged
harassment
sexual
and things
assault
of
and
that nature.
harassment, right? And so the thing that's wild to me is that there was kind of this establishment stance at the beginning to just, let it all play out. But in other instances, such as Franken, right? Franken, he got pressure so fast that he stepped down before there was even like an actual investigation. So I'm just curious, like, from your perspective, as a Democrat, how do you perceive, like, why in Cuomo's case they had to wait until the Attorney General at least released a report, but in like Franken's case, Franken stepped down before anything like that happened?
Well, look, I don't think Franken should have stepped down. I think Franken did the wrong thing. I think Franken being too silly. So I honestly was thinking about this today, because if I was his PR guy, how would I answer? And I'm gonna be candid and just bear with me for like 2 minutes here.
Yeah.
I believe that every person should believe when they talk about being sexually assaulted, molested, raped, they should have a chance to be heard, to be believed. But I think that means hearing what the accuser is saying and what the accused, how he or she defends themselves. I kind of feel bad for men of our father's generation and somewhat of our generations, from the 80-year-olds down to us 40-year-olds.
37, I'm 37.
Well, you young whippersnapper. Because complimenting chivalry and things of that nature was different. We did it different. I call women baby, You call the wrong one baby. Oh, excuse me, don't call me baby, and you offend her, and now you've sexually harassed her. You literally have sexually harassed her. That's old school, right? Sweetheart, or, some women, excuse me, don't do. I don't mean to mock, but so let me stop.
But that's your party, man.
No,
your party created this.
And I'm glad that you have to be a party that holds folks accountable. And so I'm glad that Franken was held to account.
Yeah.
And so was Cuomo, because your party doesn't do that.
No. My party believes
Gates is flying around. No.
That intent is what matters. That's what my party has believed, is that if the intent is that you're trying to be a creepy sexual predator, that's the people that you have that cross the line. But if, like you said, if someone calls someone a sweetheart, right? Like the older generation, the old school guys, I managed a gas station, and at my gas station we had regulars, and a couple of my CSRs, old school, right? They've been there for 10, 15 plus years, and they make all the coffee. And you have these old timers come in, these set guys who are 70, 80, and they'd be like, how you doing, sweetheart? And they understood that there wasn't this weird creepiness to it. But now it is true that intentions tend to matter less. But what I mean by that was your party that created that is that that's what happened, is that it doesn't matter about intentions. What matters, and this is what the Democrat Party, in my opinion, has created, is that what matters is your feelings. If you feel that someone meant this, it doesn't matter what their actual intentions are. It matters that you felt that way. And so, like, when you talk about, believing sexual assault victims, I agree with you 100%, and I think the majority of Republicans say there's two things that can be true. We should believe a woman that says that she was sexually assaulted, or a person, right? Because it could be a man that gets sexually assaulted. And you can also, at the same time, while believing that they have a claim and not, persecuting them or pushing them down, also try and actually find out from a legal standpoint, is this person actually guilty of this? And I think that what happens in the conversation is that if you say, well, I hear what you're saying, and, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, I'm also going to wait and to hear what else happened. And there's been this push that says, well, if someone says that this is true, if you don't take action based off of that, so if someone makes an egregious claim and you don't listen and then make an appropriate action, so like if someone says, hey, I touched them, my job fires me, and then maybe 6 months later I find out that that actually didn't happen, and then what?
You don't get your job back.
You don't get your job back, and my reputation has been impugned. And what does that do? So that's why like conservatives push back against us, because we think that doesn't make sense. So that's when we talk about Cuomo, this guy kind of sounds like, in my opinion, like a creepy guy, right? Like he put together this montage, this cut of he's looking at the camera, he's like, no matter what, whether you're black or you're white or you're LGBTQ, I kiss everybody. I kiss their face. It's an Italian thing. It's like, so you're admitting that you did all these things, you know? And it's funny because as the tribal political aspect goes, if it's your team, then I can dump and pile on as much as I want. And so I think Republicans taking the victory lap with this, because let's be honest, man, if this was a Republican, if Cuomo was a Republican, we'd be like, wait. Even if the Attorney General came out, we still need to do due process. So part of that is disingenuous.
It is because you're on your party.
Because of the tribal lines that get drawn.
This is what happens. Every party wants to pounce on, whomever it is that's going down. But the thing about it, this was unanimous. Democrats in New York. It wasn't just federally. Democrats in New York said, listen, we've been hearing about this for years. It's a climate that was created. Yeah. And hostile. The mayor, Mayor De Blasio said that Cuomo bullies you. He said he's talked crazy to me. When you get something done, he'll call you out of your name. So he had Republicans and Democrats that hated him. So the thing about this is, even if it weren't true, he had burnt so many bridges that people were saying, "I got your ass now." Yeah. Now you've done for, because he was such a brash guy, like a Trump. And remember, he and Trump knew each other. They're in that circle. People didn't like Cuomo either. Like when you were, I think that's like you were saying that you thought he would be a Democratic hopeful. I'm like, no.
I'm saying that when COVID first hit, because a lot of people were looking to New York, they're looking to California because they have these large population centers. These reports started coming out. Because if you remember, before, basically no one else was in the race except for Biden. And there was still some hesitancy on if Biden should be the guy to actually defeat Trump. And there was at least stories being written that were on CNN, on MSNBC, that were talking about, what if Cuomo stepped in? What if Cuomo stepped in? What would that look like? He's basically operating outside of these confines. And of course, again, because of this tribalism that exists, you got all these supercuts of all of these, the Brian Stelters of the world and Rachel Maddow and all these folks coming out that were glowing about Cuomo at the time, right? Based off of how he was handling COVID. Yeah. Now, personally, for me, I think that these allegations of what has happened, they're terrible. And he sounds like a creepy guy, like I said. But my biggest issue is all of the sick people that Cuomo put into nursing homes with people that were more likely to die from COVID, and then tried to lie about the numbers. That's the thing that he should be. That's why he should have stepped down, bro.
There are plenty of criminal investigations involving him, so he had no choice but to resign. He was going to be impeached. He was going to be fully impeached by every single Democrat was going to vote to impeach him. Yeah. The numbers he resigned yesterday. They said over the weekend. They said probably Sunday he received a phone call. I can't recall who they said, the assemblymen or whatever they call the people in New York.
Yeah, they are state assemblymen.
Yes,
yeah.
Called and said, "Hey, the numbers are against you.
Yeah,
we got the numbers. They've got the numbers to vote against you." And then he said, "Hey, the bad thing is that even if you don't have enough Democrats, you got more than enough Republicans." They would also cross over and join to impeach you. Yeah. So you're gone. Yeah. So you're already facing disgrace. So go on and resign. Now the new governor-elect, or what do you call her?
Well, I guess the temporary governor. I don't know.
Well, she's still not governor. Soon to be.
Lieutenant governor, right?
Lieutenant governor, that's right.
Step up and fill that
she
position.
today made it her business to say that she would not allow an environment to be created in her administration like that. It would be her administration would not be called. Damn, what's the word she used, bro? Not hostile. What's the word they call him? shit,
I
whatever,
don't know, man.
whatever it was. I'm like, chick, chill, okay, chill. You knew the guy was doing it too. You said nothing either. So shut the hell up, okay? You're no better. You wanted the political job too.
Right.
Because you heard about it, you should have been speaking up. You ran his Enough is Enough program.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me, lady?
It is crazy, though, man.
You ran his Enough is Enough program that attacked and made the law stiffer for sexual harassment, and you heard about these allegations and said nothing publicly because you wanted to be governor.
Yeah. And I mean, it does sound like Cuomo. I mean, obviously the family and his father being governor before, they have a lot of clout in New York. And so,
father was governor.
And you and I mean, we're involved in politics, but like Minneapolis and Minnesota politics
way different.
ain't New York politics.
No, because
you know
I had a former city councilman explain to me about a month ago that there's no real corruption in Minneapolis.
Like that, right.
Well, because he said the system is not set up for real corruption because you have to have a 7 or 8 seat majority on the Minneapolis City Council. So you can in your ward give a license or something, but there's still paperwork behind it. So he was saying you gotta be smart. So if I'm gonna give you your you being a slumlord, and I'm gonna give you licenses when I know that you shouldn't, well, eventually that's gonna catch up to me because my name is going on that.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's not like you said, it's not New York, it's not California, it's not big cities and states where real corruption, where a billionaire could come in and buy 8 councilmen. No, because even though he's got those couple of council persons, I guess you could grease the palms of the other ones, right? True,
Yeah.
So that is corruption. But he was saying that seriously, Minneapolis is not a city that's not set up for corruption, and I was pretty damn happy to hear that. You know what I'm saying? That like again in New York. There's not a system set up for real corruption where a governor or a mayor can, or St. Paul either for that matter. But Cuomo is, so I'm sorry, he deserves to be believed as well. That's what I was going to finish saying too.
Yeah, we
can't just take these ladies' words for it. He has to, and he has twice now, gave his defense.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that I don't believe some of the things he says, because I do. Because again, as men, as I was saying too, my favorite MSNBC host, Chris Matthews, got fired because he sexually harassed a young lady. And when you see the accusation of sexual harassment, I mean, he bought her lunch. He would buy her things. Yeah, he's flirting with her. I mean, obviously Chris was flirting with her. I mean, but I don't mean to be callous, but I'm like, damn, have we gotten to the point? No, have we? We have gotten to the point where, again, I can't flirt with you now without sexually harassing you. Yeah, some men come on strong, and so, dude, when she says no, back the F up.
Yeah.
But I mean,
what's
bro,
crazy?
I mean, giving you compliments that you're dressed, damn, you look nice in that dress today. You got to really watch what you say.
So that's the thing, right? Like, if I called you and, we're just shooting the breeze, most likely I could be like, bro, man, like, that new clothes that you got, man, like you look like you stunting, whatever, right? But if you're a woman and I say that, like if I'm like a creepy-ish guy in her eyes, she'll use it. Like, so I'm a very touchy-feely person.
Yes,
right?
so am I.
I'm a hugger, man.
Yeah.
And so like, when I first got involved in politics, I realized after having such a big interaction that like I have to try and gauge it. Because some people are still cool with it, and like I can tell. Like there's some people that like,
well, because they're Like
I have a handful. There's a handful of women that I've interacted with that I have never hugged. But then there's other women.
Every time you see them,
every time I see them, I hug them. Same with guys. Like I got a bunch of guy buddies that like we hug it up, dap it up, whatever. But the truth is like I've had an experience when I first moved to the cities. I was working for a energy company in Minnesota, and I was on a project that I basically tried to find people that were using energy at a location and then basically get them to accept some responsibility, because this is a little known secret. They've probably changed the rules now, but like if you move into a place and you don't switch the electricity over to your name and you don't call and the electricity stays on, like it can go months. And finally they'll send a letter, and then they'll try and call, and they try and find who lives there and to get them to accept responsibility from a certain date. So that was my job. So I was doing this, and I had, again, just first started getting into politics, 2006, had that election, and there was a female that I worked with, and me and her got into kind of like a heated argument about politics. Like she came over and she was like, blah, 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 something like talking trash about Palenti or something like that. And I, heated in the fact of like, we were both passionate about what we want to say, but it's not like I didn't stand up, I didn't flex or nothing like that. But because I shut her down so badly, she went and complained to my boss and said, I created a hostile work environment. And literally this female employee, my coworker colleague, would come to my desk to talk about politics all the time. I never approached her desk. She'd always come to my desk. But just because like I basically owned her in politics, right? She said that I created a hostile work environment, and I had to back down, and I kept my job. I ended up quitting anyways, but
screw those energy companies. They rob people. No, and you know what? Let me say this. This is what I was just about to say. I kind of wrote a little bit of a note here. Being on, all we do is keep it REAL here. Culturally, it's also done with a lot of white women.
Sure.
Keep it real. Sure. I mean, black women, she will flat out tell you, Negro, please. Yeah. Or get the hell. Black women will flat out tell you, cuss you the hell out.
You want to know what's funny about that? So at that same job in that same field, the woman that did that was a white woman that complained. This other black lady, she would come and get involved in the politics too, but she was a black lady, and she never had no problem because she would just be like, y'all stupid, walk away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, now you right, man.
Culturally, especially with the women,
for sure,
because again, black woman, I can say, that's where I get it from. I can say, well, hey, thank you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Oh, how you doing, sweetheart? Or queen.
Yeah.
But some you have to be careful, because I've worked with a few that, when you call them queen, she's like, don't call me queen. Like, okay. I hope she knew I wasn't hitting on her. And so my coworker explained to her, like, no, he ain't hitting on you. He called me queen. That's what black men, blah, 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 blah. So all I did was speak to her and say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Because I knew then, I was like, nope.
Yep.
I don't even want to have a conversation anymore, because now I'm totally uncomfortable.
Right.
Because if it's just she and I say the wrong thing now she goes to the boss and says, he harassed me.
Yeah.
I've been accused myself.
Sure.
And so I know how it feels, bro.
Yeah.
And, I think that he has a chance to have his due process. I think whoever his lawyer is, I would tell him to shut up, dude.
Yeah.
Stop explaining yourself. I know you're the governor, but shut up. You're screwing up any defense I have.
That video is the best that his team actually put together, that 2-minute montage.
I think, honestly, they say he listens to they listen to some of his staff, his handlers, but I think a lot of that was just that's just his arrogance. His arrogance. Let me show videos of me kissing everything. I'm kissing the baby, kissing the woman, kissing everybody. Gay, black, I don't care. I kiss them all. So I mean, it's just again the attitude of guys like Cuomo, guys like Trump, when they're so spoiled and privileged, bruh. That's the attitude they take on. Again, I don't want to be contradictory, because I do think that I feel bad for men in our father's age, or grandfather's father's age, because I think that they don't mean to be harassing. They try to be flirty and chivalrous.
Sure.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But I think some of the things that they described that he did, again, I find them peculiar, weird, but doesn't he deserve a chance to be heard? Again, I keep saying that, laughing because he's had it twice. But, in a normal sense, right?
Sure.
I just, again, I think these women should have their day in court, or their day to be heard, or whatever. But I think we just do, bro. I'm just not leaping to the assumption that it happened the way it was said.
Sure.
And I hate feeling that way, because you'll hear me on previous shows last year, previously, someone going to call me out and say, well, you weren't saying that last year, because I wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's pretty wild, and we'll see how things play out. I think there's a couple of reps out there, specifically, I think her name is Elise Stefanik or Stephanie. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but she definitely wants charges brought forward. So I know that they referred it to, I think, the Albany Albany police.
Yeah, they asked for
like
the
that,
they asked for.
They said they're going to do an investigation,
Yep.
and they'll see.
So
they'll see if
he might get it. He's not in the clear. Resigning is just political.
Right.
Now that part is over. He's resigned. He's a former governor. Well, he will be a former governor in 13 days.
yeah.
And so that part is over. And speaking of dumbass governors.
You mean great governors?
Yeah, dumbass governors. Governor DeSantis, I thought his last name was Dumas, but
Dumas. That's from that old commercial, right? Dumas?
The movie Dumas. Yeah, what do you mean? Your name? Excuse me, Mayor Dumbass. It's Dumas. This guy is taking a ban on a ban. I think is ludicrous. That's what I was saying a couple of weeks ago. You guys cue me how you don't want the government involved. Do you want the government involved? Now, you talk about choice. You talk about letting states and local have their choice. Well, local people have said that we want to require having masks. And speaking of that, you notice the word I use? If I worked for this administration, the Walsh administration, the Biden administration, I would say, you know what? We need to do wordplay. Stop using the word mandate and try using the word require. Mandate seems forced. Require makes you think that you have a choice when you really don't, but it makes you think that you have a choice. If it's a requirement, right? Even you don't feel that as stiff and as a mandate. You know what a mandate means. I mean, that's it. It's there. You gotta do it. You better do it, or the severe consequences. That's what you think. So I think having a requirement to wear masks, like the cities and districts in Florida want, is their local choice, which is what he said he was going to do. He said, "You go after local parents, you're going to go after me." Well, local parents, you idiot, are saying we want our kids to be masked up because Florida and Texas are leading the nation in new COVID cases and hospitalizations. Texas, and you know, I've had well, actually prior to you being the co-host here, I had my kinfolk on there live in Dallas and Texas, talk about during the freeze. But again, they were saying that because one of the his spouse works at the hospital, that there are no beds. There are no beds in the emergency rooms, and most of the patients, have COVID or recovering from it, and they're now. She was a little perturbed that they were trying to push out ill patients.
So the thing that I find interesting, especially the way that you bring it up, and I've seen actually a few folks in my Facebook friends that have shared, like, the governor's banning the ban. So here's the truth, though.
It's a ban on a ban.
It's not a ban on a ban. What it's saying is that the state of Florida will fine any school district that imposes a mask mandate, a mask guarantee that you have to wear a mask. He specifically in the order says that if children and teachers want to wear masks, wear a mask. He's just not going to allow any school district to impose that children and faculty have to wear a mask.
Guess what? They've done it anyway.
But and that's what
because
the issue
again,
is that they're
parents
challenging it.
And parents, as he said, they want to do it.
See, here's the thing that I've never understood, right? If people are so worried about wearing the damn mask, then wear the damn mask. Why do you care if other people are wearing a mask?
Because we know that kids are now, especially now, are high carriers, and some of them can't be vaccinated. So why are we going to risk infecting?
Because it's the
healthy
parent's
kids
decision.
No.
Yes.
Exactly. It is a parent's decision.
Yes.
That's why they want their kids to be masked up.
Okay, then there should be no problem.
Don't ban it. Don't tell me that I can't impose a requirement that students and faculty wear a band.
He's hoping that the parents who don't want their children to wear masks, that's the decision
then keep your kid at home.
So what happens when the majority of these children that aren't wearing masks happen to be black children? Because statistically speaking...
Oh, so now we're worried about that when we weren't worried about with COVID, and so let's not go there.
No, but we have to go there because we talk about the realistic impacts that these types of policies are having on children, and you look at who is being impacted the most. And so it's funny because on one side, you'll have Democrats that will argue, look at the racism that exists in our healthcare system because blacks are being disproportionately impacted with COVID, right? And there is
which is true.
There is aspects of it where, yes, statistically speaking, but that is different than saying we're going to make a rule that is intentionally impacting people of different races. Because when
and what rule would that be?
That's what I'm saying. When it comes to mandates, specifically for mask wearing and specifically for vaccinations, Black Americans tend to not listen to medical edicts.
No.
Yes,
no. They tend not to trust government. It's not. Listen, they're not black folks. We don't distrust doctors. First of all, we don't have medical insurance to go. So, and we use our ER.
That's so not true, man. What do you mean don't have medical insurance? Obamacare, my guy.
First of all, excuse me.
But I'm being serious though.
So am I.
There's so many different welfare programs that exist that allow you to have some form of medical assistance. I know that the state of Florida for a fact has basically a Medicaid program that allows low income people to apply to be able to have health care.
Yeah, but it's not single payer because low income. If I'm making $1,200 a month, my insurance still shouldn't require me to pay anything because I don't have it. That's the difference.
Yeah, but when we're talking about a mask mandate and just getting back to the idea of the ban of a ban, the reality is DeSantis is saying that school boards cannot enforce a mask mandate. So he's saying you cannot force everybody.
That's government interference.
He's saying go ahead if you want to
government interference.
If you want to tell your kids to wear a mask, then tell your kids to wear a mask. If you want to rally all the parents in your school district and you guys are going to decide, but there's 5 families that won't wear a mask, it's not fair to force those children to not be able to go to school.
That's government interference.
No.
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes.
No. It's literally
he's impeding on my right.
No, he's actually supporting your right to do what you want.
He's impeding my right because
he's supporting your right because if you want to wear a mask, you're going to wear a mask. He's not saying you can't wear a mask.
Well, I don't want to have a business. Wait a minute. What about the rights of businesses?
Yeah, what about them?
If a business wants to require you, that business has that right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So a school.
But you can choose to go somewhere else, right?
A
public school? No,
you can choose to go someplace else.
I wish we had open enrollment in every school district across America that you could choose to send your kid and then send their tax dollars with them.
Well,
and then go ahead. That would be great because that's what conservatives want.
Well, think about that before you say no. Oh, school choice, please. Oh, no child left behind because that worked out great. Look, we got 2 minutes. If you are going to tread on my rights, then don't slap me in the face, piss on my leg, and tell me that it's raining outside. You guys, as I said, I'm glad that this is exactly the hypocritical type of acts that we're talking about last week even. Is you guys only want government to stay out of the business of yours when it's only convenient for you, and this is it.
And it's crazy because no matter how many times I say it, what I'm saying is that if you want to wear the mask, you get to wear the mask. The ban doesn't say that children can't wear masks in schools. It's saying that no school board or no body can force all students and all teachers to wear a mask. So technically, it's saying you're free to wear a mask, but the opposite way says you're not free to not wear a mask and still come to school or be a teacher. So that's the crazy thing to me is that the mandate is just saying, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. And if you don't, that's up to you and your parent to decide. Whereas right now the left is saying, well, because it's such a public health crisis, it's crazy that you wouldn't mandate masks in schools because, these children are going to get sick and they're going to bring it home to their parents and then bring it to the grandparents and they're going to kill all the old people. Again, if that's the decision that your family wants to make, then that's the decision your family has to make. So I believe it is a freedom choice. And that's why Ron DeSantis, I hope he runs for president. DeSantis 2024.
Oh, I hope he runs too. I hope he runs too. I hope he runs too.
Eat those words you'll see, bro.
We're going to eat his lunch. I hope Ron DeSantis. Oh, please, Ron.
I hope he runs too. I mean, if Trump runs, I'm a Trump guy, obviously.
Oh, well,
if DeSantis runs, I'm a
you guys love losing presidential elections, don't you? Damn. Where should they go to hear tonight's show at?
So if you want to hear the show after, if you didn't catch the live show, or you want to watch it or listen to it on your way to work, head on over to anchor.fm/BRBD. Again, on your favorite podcasting platforms, you'll be able to listen to the show. Make sure that you also head over to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube, just search Black Republican, Black Democrat. You'll be able to find us, youtube.com/Black Republican, Black Democrat. It's just another way that we can try and open up our exposure. And make sure that you head over to our Patreon account. If you like the show, please smash the like button. Share this show so your friends and family can see it. And, make sure to head over to our Patreon account. And if you think we do a good job and you want to help us bring in bigger guests and things like that, please head over to patreon.com/BRBD and make a contribution.
And remember the special content that we will be developing for you Patreon subscribers. We will absolutely do our best to make sure that there is some good content for you weekly so that you can feel like the VIP that you are. Now, I'm hungry, so on the way out, I'm going to stop by the store. There's only one store that I know I should stop by, and what's the name of that one?
The Weber Mart.
The what?
The Weber Mart.
That's right. Kevin, we appreciate you. You're an awesome, awesome sponsor. The Weber Mart. Make sure you guys are checking that out, patronizing that. He's a great dude. I know that there's construction in front of the place, but he's still open. Out the back, he's making arrangements to make sure that he can get all those customers inside of that. Man, will you be back next week?
Absolutely. You going to be back next week, man?
Well, if the Lord, as my dad says, the Lord says the same. I'm Jamar Nelson.
Oh, hold on, guys. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
So I hate to cut in. But we do have a few comments.
Oh,
some questions.
Look at me, man.
Well, I got glasses on. I can't see.
So we've got Rachel Williams flashing up on the screen here that says, would either of you agree, and she was referring to when you were talking about voting in the first segment, that if a receipt printed out after voting for you to hang on to, would that help the peace of mind for voters and making them feel like their vote was counted?
I like that.
I like that, too.
I like that.
Yeah,
if that machine could print out a receipt that you voted, that's
that'd be dope.
super fantastic, Rachel. Seriously, you know what? Honestly, I'm going to bring that up to a couple of city council persons because I think that locally, we should try that locally. That a receipt.
That'd be dope.
That would be dope.
Because then at least you have a way that
because your name, you got to find they find your name when you go in there and vote. So maybe your initials could be on it or something.
I don't even care if it's your name. It's just like you have it and it's yours. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because
you want to keep it anonymous because
number.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Great idea.
And then another one from Rachel who was watching last week as well. She said, she works in the healthcare industry, and there are a lot more of them that believe in freedom of choice for the C jab than you think. And she said that some infected with the virus should be at. I never said that someone infected with the virus should be at work spreading the virus. If you're sick, stay home, right? But honestly, it's semi-hurt to hear you think we are all expendable. Also, if
that was you.
That was you. I never said they're expendable. I said we need them.
Also, if the jab can spread it and contract the virus, what makes you so much better? That makes us equal. Only I could experience more symptoms, correct? Then why care about me since it seems you don't?
Ooh. Well, let me help you, Rich. I think you were jabbing at him. But let me say this. I guess so if you are vaccinated, we do know. Is she a nurse? Is that what she?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she said she works in the industry.
Okay. So then you know that being vaccinated highly lowers the chance of you getting it, spreading it, dying, being on a respirator, all those things. Now, there have been rare occasions where vaccinated people have gotten sick, but again, it depends on the immunity of your body, how it affects. So this is not a one shot that clears all, but it does lower your chance of getting this infectious disease that could kill you, depending on what type of underlying ailment that you suffer from. And that's what we've said. It's the underlying ailments that you suffer from, which.
So I think specifically what she was speaking to was she made the comment about workers that are basically, if a mandate goes into place, there's a bunch of healthcare workers that.
Oh, and I say get your ass out. Well,
yeah. And so I think that's what that was about because. Again, for me, because like I think about this, and I know that the show's almost done, but if you have a system in which you've had these frontline workers, right? You've had these nurses before COVID vaccine was developed, okay? And they've been able to be safe. Either one of two things is true. Either one, that nurses have been super spreaders this entire time, which I think is not true because they use PPE and all these other protective measures. Or two, there must be something more because if you're not going to get vaccinated, but you still follow the protocol, then what would be the problem be if you're still going to use the PPE and all that different stuff? So that's why I think it's hard to say that the intentions of mandating that nurses all be vaccinated. It's hard because if that's the case, then in the past something must have changed, or this might be a little bit more political than anybody wants to let on to in regards to vaccine mandates, man.
Well, no, I think, again, you change the verbiage. Let's call it a requirement. And secondly, though, I think that what that also sets us up for is a nurse getting it or giving it. And then if I get it and I become sick and I die, now it sets you up for a bunch of lawsuits, because now I could sue it because I could say Nurse Nan or Nurse Williams gave me, I contracted it from her. I wasn't sick when I came in, and then let's say they force Nurse Williams to take a COVID test, and she has it. Blah blah blah. So I just think that we're setting ourselves up for a bunch of stuff when it's safe to go get vaccinated. Because, look, I don't know why the FDA or isn't already giving this a full authorization. I don't know. That's just that's a part of it.
Sure.
And they know that.
Yeah.
That's the one thing people say. It ain't really tested. It ain't even. They don't got a license. It's
I like your random redneck Republican impersonation.
Right? And that's mixed with some black folks too.
Kevin, any other comments you got?
It's funny that you say that you should say that it's mandated versus required.
Yeah.
Because she says you can use all the wordplay you want to, but we are smarter than you think. Require or mandate whatever you want. I will not comply. So
amen, Rachel.
Then what I say to you, Rachel, is get. I hope that you have your resume dusted up, because you're gonna need it. And if you refuse to, if you're in the health field, and let's just say again, I hope you're not a nurse, but if you're a nurse and you're not vaccinated,
because you sound like a great nurse.
Yeah, but a great nurse that needs to be vaccinated, damn it, because you don't know who's giving it to you. You don't know who you could be giving it to. And I think what I would want you to do, Rachel, is this week or make sure I want you to explain to me what specifically you've.
Amen. Amen, Rachel.
Okay, Rachel, tell me specifically, what is it that you don't like about the vaccination?
I would say next.
So that's what I want to know. I want to know specifically, what is it that she doesn't like? No, Rachel, we appreciate y'all. No, we love guests like that. Our homegirl Rachel. Make sure you go over to
patreon.com/BRBD.
Patreon.com/BRBD. We love guests like that. See, that's why we make it the BRBD page. Okay, it's time to go. Patreon page. So
I'm A.K. Kamara, the Black Republican, the smart one.
I thought I got rid of John. I'm Javon Nelson, the Democrat. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.